Hi, my name is Miguel. I'm today's moderator today. So thanks for joining us in our event. So welcome to our webinar, and we'll be touching on the topic of staying ahead of ransomware with EasiShare and Splunk. So just some mandatory kind of like hygiene. So in the event that you have any kind of question or anything that you want to ask, you can actually use the Q&A session to actually ask us the question. Yeah. So then these are our speakers today. So we have Takeaway from InspireTech and TY also from InspireTech, Kaisam from Splunk, and Firdaus from Westcom Malaysia to actually give you an understanding of how we will actually give you an insight in terms of like what are the trends of ransomware, and then TY himself will actually give a further breakdown in terms of like how EasyShare can actually approach these ransomware problem. And then Kaisam and Firdaus itself will actually give you an overview of Splunk and also as well as how Splunk tackle the ransomware attacks in today's context itself. So without further ado, I'll pass on the stage to actually Takeaway to actually let him present on his side. Yeah, Takeaway, please.
Hi, thank you, Miguel. So for today, I'll really just start off with the introduction of the topic, which is ransomware. And after the introduction, I'll pass it on over to TY that will share a little bit more about EasyShare. So first up, I'll first start with the first question, which is what is ransomware? I'm sure all our audience today actually know what is this, but as a formality, I'll just explain this again. So this is actually a malicious software that is designed to perform certain kinds of encryption that will hold the victim's information at ransom. And this is definitely not new. In fact, it has been always around all the time. It's just that in recent years, due to the change in work habits and the increase in digitalization, there has been more and more of a concern. And that's why we are looking at this topic today. And expanding more on why is there this rise in the ransomware attacks over these recent years, right? As I mentioned just now, one key aspect is definitely the digitalization part. So a lot of businesses, including those in Malaysia as well, has been digitalizing their work process. With this, it actually increases the value of the data that we hold. And that is the reason why nowadays we also talk a lot about like insights of data, data analytics, and a lot of value that will come out of the data. Unfortunately, this also means that the bad actors are trying to take value out of this data from our organizations as well. And the second part is that remote working in recent years has become the trend, and a lot of time we are talking about working anywhere and anytime. And this also then gives rise in the fact that a lot of data that used to be only accessible within a corporate organization's network and environment now has to be exposed to more ways to access. And this additional ways to access data, number one, of course, give conveniences to the employees of organizations. However, it also means that there is a larger attack surface and increase of risk in terms of the areas that attackers can aim for. And finally, the third point that really push up the rise in ransomware attacks is we talk a lot about agility, which is the speed of how things are moving. And this is really driven a lot of by increase in computing power. And how does this affect ransomware? So in the past, ransomware tends to be less dangerous because it takes time to actually encrypt the file. So they're not very efficient and they're usually quite easy to stop. But now, because our computers and our servers are more powerful, the speed of the spread of ransomware and the kind of things that ransomware attackers can do has greatly been enhanced as well. So much as we ourselves are more powerful, the threat actors also is gaining more power. And these three factors really drive the trends that we see in recent times. And I also mentioned that the ransomware itself is something that is not just recent, it has been around all the time. So in line with the trends that I mentioned earlier, right, there are also observations that this so-called virus, just like any other biological virus that we look at, right, there is always this idea of a mutation. So how does this mutation happen, right? In the past, hackers typically have the objective to just encrypt the file and request for ransom to decrypt it. So that was the key objective. But nowadays, given that the trends I mentioned earlier, not only they want to encrypt, they also want to exfiltrate. So what it means by exfiltrate, they want to get the data out of the organization to hold a copy. Now then they use this copy to tie on to further ransoms, as well as to see what value they can derive out of it. So it changed from just purely encrypting to now that they actually want to obtain the information, largely driven by the trend I've mentioned earlier. And secondly, in terms of delivery methods, in the past, a lot of this ransomware comes in through USB, hard drives, NAS, and emails. So these were the more traditional methods, and organizations, some of them have been tightening this area. While some of us are still using USB hard drives, it might be good to assess the usage of these devices and see whether you might want to look at tightening of the security in these aspects given the risk of ransomware. And this really ties on with the earlier trend I mentioned because of all the changes in work behaviors, the usage of access to data as well has been increased. And even more so now because there are new ways of working. So through our Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, some of the social media that we use for work-wise, maybe we use LinkedIn and stuff. So all these ways increase this ability for social engineering. So these attackers now are able to use new ways to actually spread this ransomware on top of what has been traditional attack vectors that allow the hackers to penetrate into your organization's environment. And this is really the situation that we are in. And most importantly for today, actually what we all want to know is that then how do we protect our organizations from this ransomware, right? So this is the big topic. So what I will do is that I will just share a little bit about the idea, and after that the rest of the speakers will elaborate more on how the protection and detection can work for your organization. So in terms of whenever we analyze risk, we like to talk about PPT, people, process, technology. So on the people element, we do a lot of security awareness training. And then after, in terms of processes, that's where you put in your security network, patch management processes, and your audit processes as well. For today, the topic that we really zoom into is the technology part, how technology can help. And in that, I'll just share a little bit on the idea of this Swiss cheese model, because it's very hard to really, for any solution to 100% protect you from ransomware. So one of the way we can look at it is this Swiss cheese model, whereby we have different layers of defense systems, and each defense system might have some loopholes and vulnerabilities, but we strive to have enough layers such that the risk of a successful attack is reduced. So traditionally now we have like firewall, intrusion prevention systems, intrusion detection system, antivirus, endpoint protection, and then after the backup as well. Now today what we want to elaborate more is that there is two potential layers you might add into your entire strategy. First being EasiShare that can help you in terms of the prevention. And secondly, you may look at detection aspects in terms of Splunk. And with that, I think I will pass on to TY to elaborate more on the prevention part, which is focused on our solution, EasiShare. TY, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Miguel, for sharing what is ransomware. So today I will be talking about the prevention of EasiShare. I mean, the prevention for ransomware with EasiShare. So I will start with a little bit background of our company, and then move on to a few features and also some case studies at the end. Okay. So Inspire Tech is actually established in year 2000. So headquarters is in Singapore, and mostly we are providing the solutions to the government and also enterprises. Okay, so cybersecurity trends are right now in this century. 53% 53% of the companies found over 1,000 sensitive files accessible to every employee. 58% of companies found over 1,000 folders that has inconsistent permission. 74% of the CFOs intend to shift most of the employees to remote work permanently. 42% of the global workforce will be mobile by 2022. Cyber threats are at all-time high. 74% of business expect to be hacked in the next year. So why does EasiShare matters? So EasiShare is an organization to securely manage, share and govern files, simple, intuitive interface, comply with risk and compliance requirement. Okay, so EasiShare is focusing on security, control, and visibility. So security portion is more likely more on these authentications, OTP, 2FA. Okay, so on control portion will be more on role permission, visibility will be on audit reports and so on. So the first EasiShare features that we are trying to share regarding to this ransomware is the file sharing and request. So no matter to individual groups or imported lists, share files or folders or combination, there is no files limit, no FTP sites or email attachments needed, notification to senders. So there is notification to senders as well. Okay, so how do we protect the end user from infected by this ransomware? So users usually has this habit that they are using the USB, email attachment, and cloud solution, which this will be leads on helping out the threat actors on transferring or infecting the users' computers, the files and all. So with EasiShare secures the file exchange process between external parties and employees. Okay, so how does this work? So employees would need to send a secure link to the unauthorized user, which is the external party. So authorized user, you will need to go through those OTP or some authentication. Okay, so even though if the authorized users is the threat actor or they have this intention to to spread out this ransomware, don't worry about that. We have file scanning sanitization before coming into this EasiShare, okay, with CDR. So I will move on to the standard architecture. So this is one of our architecture that we provide to our client. So standard architecture is our secure architecture with two-way connectivity between DMZ and intrazones. So as you can see, whenever your files comes in, goes out, it will go through this DMZ, our web server. Okay, so our architecture has a three-tiered design, as mentioned, which is the web server, app server, and also DB. So we have ready integration to AV, encryption, and also search. Besides that, which is the SMS, which is all the time we mention the 2FA and OTP. So the architecture sits on the Microsoft technology stack with ready integration to several popular business systems as well. Okay, so how after the files comes in, how do we protect the file servers? Okay, so without EasiShare, okay, ransomware loaded files is downloaded into the BC in the user BC in finance. This is for you to imagine actually. So if it's in the finance, so the ransomware exploits the SMB vulnerability to infect file servers, which mean that you will be infected to other system PCs, for example, like HR, for some other departments, laptop like sales or marketing's laptops as well. Okay, so don't worry, with EasiShare helps to reduce the exposure of SMB protocols to the PCs, isolate the ransomware to the infected PC, and prevent the spread to other systems and devices. So ransomware is content that in infected PC, which cannot be affected by the ransomware for the other departments. Okay, so this is how the how do we protect the file servers, which is we can actually isolate the infected PC not to spread. So next will be the EasyShare, another EasyShare features, which is the folder role permission. So folder role permission manage every user's role depending on their level of permission. Enable folder expiry to restrict access of after a period. Set storage quota to manage usage. Of course, this is all controlled by the privileged users. Okay, so how do we protect those confidential files? As mentioned, you have protected from files, ransomware coming in from the files, from the server as well. And then now you want to protect the confidential file specifically. Okay, so previous user is lack of visibility and control if you don't have a system like EasyShare. So there's only one login access, which is the only layer security, as everyone knows that this is the only security layer that public cloud has, which means when after you log into this public cloud, you are able to retrieve, you are able to send out all the files to anyone you want, right? So with EasyShare, we have three layers of security, which is the login access, folder permission, and also the security policies. So with EasyShare, threat actors need to go through all these securities in order to retrieve, or maybe they want to send out the files, or they want to infiltrate the files. Okay. So what if virus breaches EasyShare? So today, as mentioned by Midway, the switches model is able to filter up some of the threats. So EasyShare might have their loopholes or not enough for you. Okay, don't worry. Today we have Splunk. We have Splunk to explain on how they could help on with this layer of switches. So I will pass it on to Kaisam and Firdaus.
Thank you, TY. Miguel, can I trouble you to share my slides or your?
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Miguel. Oh, never mind. Let me try to share on my end. Sorry, so sorry. Okay.
Okay.
I hope everyone can see the slides.
Yep, we can.
Right. Thank you, Miguel. Thanks, Tiwa, again for handing the session to me. Before I begin, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to all the participants who spent your time today, this afternoon, to hear more about the combined solutions from both InspireTech and also Splunk. My name is Kaisam. I am the account manager from Splunk, Malaysia, based in Kuala Lumpur. I look after the commercial sector. Just a very quick sharing. We have about close to 18 staff based in Kuala Lumpur, looking around the Malaysia businesses, as well as some of the so-called emerging countries around the region as well, right? So we have an established office in Kuala Lumpur, just to share with everyone. Globally, Splunk was founded about 18 years ago in the US, right? Or of course originated from it's a US company based out of California. And also very pleased also to share with all the attendees today in terms of some of the accolades. From a global perspective, 82 companies out of the Fortune 100 companies globally are currently using Splunk as their default solutions. So there's some accolade I just want to share with everyone. So just let me, in the next 10 or 15 minutes, just to bring you through what Splunk is all about, what kind of offerings that Splunk can actually bring to the table with the combination of what you heard from InspireTech that will allow you to give an extended protection for your organizations in terms of not just to ransomware alone, right? Specifically to ransomware alone, as a total security solutions and protections for your organizations. So a little bit about some definition of Splunk. So a lot of customers or a lot of clients would be always asked the first questions, what does Splunk stand for, and how did actually the Splunk came into so-called as an organization's name. So Splunk was actually derived, as you can see. Let me just bring up my pointer. Splunk was derived from a actual English word here called splunking, which means from the bottom definition here under splunking is to explore the underground caves. So was very much referring to those divers or cave divers, to be very exact, to go very deep into cave and do whatever explorations that they require, right? And then the word splunking, bottom left-hand corner here of the slides that you can see, was basically derived from the word splunking, which means that we as an organizations, as you can see, a data platform company or organizations, to explore your machine data that will bring values to you as an organizations or as a user or as an employee to the organizations, right? So make machine data accessible and valuable to everybody. So that is our tagline. So that is how the name Splunk was derived all about, right? And since the company was founded in 2003, we've been carrying one simple mission all along for the last 18 years, is to make machine data accessible, usable, and valuable to everybody, right? So as you also heard from probably the last two speakers and people who has been talking around the market, data is the new oil to any organizations, right? So for an organization to move forward and beyond now, you cannot run away from relying the information that you can derive from those data that you have in your organization. So much so that today everyone are working remotely. Data has become tremendously important and crucial for the success of each and every of your organizations, right? So machine data, and we are very specifically referring to machine data. So your data is talking, are you listening? And most importantly, how do you listen when your data speaks, right? So where Splunk comes into the picture, whereby we provide a solution, or rather we call ourselves a platform organizations. So Splunk is a software technology that allows you to use it to monitor, to search, analyze, and most importantly, the word here is to take action, right? Is to be able to take certain calculated actions, because there is a artificial intelligence capability built underneath our Splunk offerings throughout our whole portfolio that allows you to take calculated actions moving ahead. This is most important, right? It's not just alone displaying data and a lot of information to you that everyone will get confused at the end of the day. You alone already confused with the amount of data that you have in your organizations. So to reduce that complexity and the ability to take certain calculated actions, this is where Splunk will bring value added into your organizations. So be it websites, applications, sensor devices, whatever components that you have in your organization, so long that particular component is able to produce a data in the form of logs, Splunk is able to communicate with those devices that will in turn turn into useful and usable information for you to take actions moving ahead, right? So it's on top of just doing a protection for ransomware. It allows many other advantages as well, which I'm going to share with you shortly. But of course, at the end of the day, our topic of discussion today is very much focused on ransomware protection, right? So this is a cycle in these slides that Splunk has actually developed over the last 18 years. And this is the methodology. Let me rephrase the word methodology that we've been using when we introduce all our solutions in our portfolio to the market outside, right? So what we do is, as soon as the data comes in, we will index the data, put it in a very nice manner. We will do searching and investigation. We'll put some kind of, like I mentioned, AI knowledge into it, as well as doing some comparisons between what the market is actually going through, right, of all the cases that has happened. Monitor and alert, and last but not least, providing you report and analysis. So for you to be able to take certain calculated actions moving ahead, right? So this is the so-called the cycle that Splunk will the methodology that we have actually inherited and the cycle that the organizations will actually go through in a proper way before a specific actions is being taken, right? So let's move ahead with our reference architecture from Splunk point of view, right? So as you're aware, I've repeatedly mentioned over the course of the last 5 minutes is view Splunk as a data platform provider organizations. Instead of, on top of that, of course, we do provide solutions, but our core bread and butter is to provide a data platform for you to begin with, right? So this is what we call it, the Splunk platform that allows whatever devices that you have in your organizations, and this platform will be able to correlate all the data into a single repository. And on top of that, this is where we will build our vertical solutions to make use and to monetize the data that actually comes into the Splunk platform, right? Be it IT ops or DevOps capability to allow you to monitor the infrastructure of your data center, to monitor the websites of your particular organizations that you're interfacing with your external users, your consumers, right? And of course, the topic of discussion today is everything about security, right? Be it ransomware attack, malware attack, whatever that you can name it in the world of digitalization as we speak today. And most importantly, business analytics, which will give a flavor to your organizations to make certain so-called improvements or advancements based on the data that Splunk captures, the dashboards that we show you, to be able to make certain business decisions moving forward. For example, such as ways or recommendations to increase your sales, be it whatever products that you're carrying in the next month or in the next quarter or in the next fiscal year, so on and so forth, right? So these are the intelligence that we have actually built into Splunk as a capability that can provide you with that 3 vertical pillars, right, moving ahead, right? So again, how Splunk actually value add is, take a car, for instance, right? I think something that can relate to everybody today, where automobiles is getting more and more advanced to the extent that it is unlike 10 years ago where you don't have capabilities like lane changing departure or lane monitoring intelligence for the drivers, so on and so forth, right? So all these capabilities will produce what we call it sensors, right? Will have data and information actually coming up. And most importantly, the word that I want to highlight here is real time. Okay, so in order for the car's intelligence to take actions or to be able to advise the drivers to take a crucial actions in the shortest manner of time, right? You need to rely on a very robust platform solutions for you to be able to produce that kind of information or actions moving ahead, right? So again, so Splunk, we call ourselves or we pride ourselves as the data to everything platform organizations, right? So like what I mentioned, be it any components in your organizations, sensors, devices, PC, notebooks, handphones, printers, right? Anything that you can think of that is able to produce what we call it logs, right? Or data in any format. So Splunk is able to capture those information and be able to do correlation and pass on information back to the organization in a very nice dashboard manner, right? And the 3 things that you will be able to achieve out of that is, of course, in terms of your IT operations, like I mentioned short a while ago, security, as well as applications and also business intelligence moving ahead, right? So what makes Splunk as a solution so outstanding is we accept any structure, any source, and any time scale. And then on top of that, this is the methodology that we actually put inside to actually be able to take action when we move ahead, right? Yeah, we will start off with analyzing, right? Then after that, of course, we will start off with monitoring, analyzing, take actions, and also investigation. So this is a whole sales cycle that we actually go through when Splunk receive information from all your devices in your organizations, right? That allows you to take actions. Okay, that's moving ahead, right? So again, to be very specific to ransomware attack, which of course later on another colleague of mine will continue to give you a little bit more details, right? So these are some of the Splunk SIEM use cases that we actually allow you as an organizations to be able to introduce into your organizations in terms of whether ransomware protection, malware protection, whatever that is related to security protection, right? We have incident and response automation, compliance, and data privacy, which is very crucial today. Sometimes in many cases, when you deploy a security protection solution in your environment today, you may not know whether it is compliant to certain standard or industry. For example, ISO, right? For example, in Malaysia, of course, those financial sectors will have certain compliance that the central bank, Bank Negara, has actually set upon. So this is where we allow you to actually check whether your compliance is adhering to those what we said in the industry, right? Incident investigations, so on and so forth, plenty more, right? So these are the things I would say, and end-to-end things that Splunk will be able to offer in terms of our SIEM capabilities, right? So next couple of slides, I won't again steal the thunder from my colleague. It's basically just to show you some sample screenshots of our out of the box dashboards, where the moment that you deploy Splunk, these are the things that you are able to see almost in the immediate sense, right? In terms of advanced threat detection, incident investigation, these are the things that you will be able to see, right? Out of the box solutions when you deploy Splunk, right? And then next but not least, right? So again, just to recap everything, when we sell our solutions to the market, Splunk will always adhere to these 4 steps that we always go through: investigation, monitoring, analyze, and then be able to take actions. That is most importantly, right? And the actions, like I said, it is all well so-called decided with our capabilities of artificial intelligence that we built into each and every of our portfolio of the solutions, right? Again, this is a complete cycle that will give the most complete protections solutions to your organizations, which in turns, like what I mentioned, 82 out of the Fortune 100 companies globally are actually spending their investment into Splunk, right? Okay. Next accolade, right? For 7 consecutive years, as you can see, 7 consecutive years, Splunk has been named the top leader in terms of the Gartner quadrant, right? And this is the report just came out for year 2020, right? Magic Quadrant. So we've been there for the last 7 consecutive years, just to let you know. This is our accolade. And this is, again, is a public available information from Gartner that you can actually get it from the internet, okay? Last but not least, globally, these are all some of the existing installed clients who've been using Splunk to manage the security for their organizations, right? Closer to Malaysia, let me just take a financial sector, for instance. We are in, I would say, 90% of all the tier 1 banks in Malaysia today are using Splunk, right? And we have got about 50% coverage in terms of the tier 2 banks in Malaysia, right? So in terms of financial sector, to be very specific, closer to our home, Malaysia, we have very, very strong presence, right? For Splunk footprint, right? Just sharing with everybody, right? So this is just a very quick sharing of what Splunk Solutions is all about, right? Most importantly, the 3 things I want you to remember is our 3 portfolio in terms of IT, security, and also DevOps, right? And the 4 sales cycles that we always the methodology that we actually impose when we deliver our final solutions to the market, right? To give you the best solutions in place, the peace of mind, so on and so forth, right? So without further ado, let me just hand over the session to another colleague of mine, Firdaus, who will bring you a little bit deeper in terms of how Splunk security solutions is able to help you in terms of malware and also ransomware protection. Right. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, thanks, Kaisam. So I share my screen first. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited to spend some time together today to discuss about how Splunk can detecting unknowns, malware, ransomware attacks with Splunk. And I'm Firdaus, a Splunk technical engineer from Westcom Malaysia. All right, without further ado, let's get started. So before we begin, I just want to quickly note that while we talk about the product and features, they become available in future, you should base your purchasing decision on most current available technology. As you might expect, we'll be making forward-looking statement about our business and financial performance during this presentation. Okay. My presentation today will be focusing more on this topic. Number one is ransomware evolution overview, malware challenges, how Splunk detect malware using this application. Number one is Splunk Enterprise Security. Number two, Splunk ES Content Update. We call it ESU. And the last one, Splunk Security Essential, in short form, SSE. Okay, generally, what is a ransomware? Okay. Ransomware is we can call a specific type of malware that hold data hostage and especially disruptive to business due to its data disruptive nature. Detection of ransomware is a key of removing compromised device from infected network, but a holistic approach to security centered around prevention is necessary to keep organization from falling a victim to malware attacks. So as you can see from this slide, the malware does not remain the same each year. You can see from 2003 until 2020, it's evolved throughout the year. And the latest one detected on 2020 was Reveal and Doppelganger. Okay, the challenges to detecting malwares. As you know by now, it's not easy to detect malware. It's not a straightforward job because the traditional way of detecting an F1 malware or threat compromise in Windows environment rely on using a signature-based antivirus or malware products. But this approach can be difficult for many. Most anti-malware solutions that are signature-based rely on known list of signature. And this come with a challenges because signature-based detection will not catch everything. The no one is because endpoint protection product do not have a perfectly strict to detect all signature that exist. They do not apply to new type of threat that execute a new executable at the endpoint because there are no known signature to compare against. To resolve this issue, Splunk provide one platform with two key functions to solve challenges and making the best use sys internal event for detecting early sign of non-F1 malware infection. You can from this slide, you can see number one is collection of Windows activity. The Splunk Windows OS folder to easily collect all sys internet data through event logs. So Splunk can provide can provide a simple agent to for collecting all window data. For example, event logs, sys internet, both mode and files, and allow secure and highly confident transport means for centralized data in Analytic perform. Sysmon specific format and process ability to immediately apply analysis. And the next is Analytic based on searching and analyze anomalies. For example, you using a simple searches, statistic summation and calculation to highlight rare value in the process creation details. Pivot into different endpoint criteria to dynamic derive result, and we can apply machine learning also. So this one example, our Splunk component, we have order, indexer, and the last one is search head. And this one how our Splunk forwarder process for the send data, receive, and pass data, write data, acknowledge, and from Splunk forwarder will release back to the indexer. Okay, how Splunk detect malwares? Okay, as I mentioned before, there are 3 applications that I will introduce today. Number 1 is Splunk Enterprise Security. Okay, Splunk Enterprise Security used to solve a wide range of security analytic and operation use cases, including continuous security monitoring, advanced threat detection, compliance, incident investigation, forensic, and incident response. And Splunk ES Content Update is an application deliver pre-packaged security content. ESCU, they provide regular security content update to help security practitioner address ongoing time-sensitive threat, attack methods, and other security issues. And the last one is a Splunk Security Essential. This one a free application you can download from the Splunk base, which is SSE can give you explore security use cases and discover security content before you start threat detection or challenges. For example, security content library, cybersecurity framework, data and content introspection, and also security data journey. Okay, and then you can see here, this example Splunk ES use cases library dashboard. Okay, this one use cases inside Splunk Enterprise Security. That's our premium solution lah. Okay, actually I use this dashboard sample to show to you how Splunk ES detect there is a malware which reflected in the analytic story box under the category malwares lah. So it will alert to the user what the threat is about and how it operates in the description box. Okay, actually you can go to filter box in the right box filter. For example, you want to search ransomware, okay, and then you type the ransomware, and the filter will help you to search and limit to you lah which analytic story that you prefer. So for example, ransomware, and the latest one you can see for June 2021, as I mentioned on the previous slide, we can detect reveal ransomware. So they can give the analytic story, use cases under malware, and give a description about reveal ransomware. And the latest update is for June 2021 lah. And if you want to know more in detail lah, you just click the ransomware names, and it will display like this, So it will tell you the description of the ransomware. You can the narrative and the reference for information, and will also display the ID for the meter attack detection. So sometimes we asking what is the detection. So detection is how the security issue attack our system lah. So they give everything information about reveal ransomware. Okay, under detection. Okay, this example how Splunk display the detection in the Splunk ES use case library dashboard. Okay, on the left hand side, you can see all the type detection or attack particular analytic story across our system under reveal ransomware. Okay, for example, Splunk has detect reveal ransomware to hack cause our system to delete shadow copy with PowerShell rule. So I just choose the one topic only lah. They got multiple, but I just choose the delete shadow copy with PowerShell. So the user can further understand the way it's attacked by clicking description and explanation. So you can drop down the button description, explanation, search. Okay. So this one example lah. How Splunk give the description and explanation option. So Splunk already provide the user with the solution how to resolve or remedy the attack. So from this slide we can see Splunk has provided user with complete command to decrypt the PowerShell command to delete shadow copy in the search option. Splunk also provide the way how to implement the solution in the how to implement option lah. They give the explanation under how implement, and the user simply needs to copy the command, SPL command, in the search option to follow instruction provide in the how implement option. So this one is strict, easy to implement, and user is more understand how to use it, how to use lah. Okay, edit correlation search. Splunk ES also allow user to edit their correlation search. Okay, correlation search is a type of scheduled search. So it will let you detect suspicious event and pattern in your data. You can configure correlation search to generate notable event when search result meet a specific condition. So after you know of everything information in the reveal information, you can set the schedule search lah, meaning the correlation search in your ES. Okay, this one another application we can call the Splunk ES content update. As I explained before, in order to use ESU, the user must first install Splunk Enterprise Security and Security Essential, Splunk Security Essential. So this is how Splunk ESU dashboard inside Splunk Enterprise platform looks like lah. This application you need to install in your enterprise. So what I say ESU help the user to keep them update on the going time, sensitive threat, attack method, and other security issue. In the content library on ESU dashboard, there is a total analytic story detection and story category lah. You can see the total analytic story, total detection, and ESU application version, and analytic story by multi-technique ID. So everything detection you can see in the content update ESU. Okay, this one another application we can call Splunk Security Essential. Previously, I choose to view analytic story using use case library. So I will show you using how we can detect malware or ransomware using the free application Splunk Security Essential. Okay. Splunk Security Essential is a free Splunk application that makes security easier with 4 key pillars to help you to find the best content, learn how to its work, deploy it successfully, and measure your success. So what more interesting is it's a Splunk-based application that you can simply install on your laptop even you don't have any data in your Splunk lah. So because they have a demo data, because we can see the Splunk security focus more security journey, analytic story using starting from basic into much more advanced data sources and detection, while analytic story using starting from much advanced data source detection and while use library allow the user to focus more the content update. So this one how Splunk Security Essential dashboard looks like. So the user can view the security content based on the data ingest in Splunk. So depend on your data ingestion. For now, I just choose the security. I choose a security use cases is all, journey is all, category is all, and data source is all. Okay. For example, you have a limited data source. You no need to filter all lah, but depend on your data source ingestion in the Splunk. Okay. This slide show you filter by analytic category. Okay, for example, category story. For example, I choose malware and ransomware. So the data that I use currently based on my demo data. So the 41 matches based on the malware category and the 37 matches under ransomware category. After I click the category malware and ransomware, Splunk SE will give you discover use cases from stage 1 until stage 6. They got the security journey. Okay, from previous slide kan, I choose malware and ransomware. So in the stage 1 ni, they give you detection lah. For example, monitor unsuccessful backup, remote desktop network brute force, SMB traffic spike, MLTK. Same like Splunk US content, Splunk US library. Okay, you can click, for example, you can click one example in here lah. So you can get the description, explanation, everything, and they give also you stage 2 normalization. Okay, stage 2 actually compromise more advanced security content lah, most only available in Splunk Premium. As mentioned before, SSE they outline the many use cases across the matured journey, And naturally, customer mature and list requirement grow. The customer will need more comprehensive capability, can be easily added lah. And our premium application built on top of the Splunk platform lah. So I just give example. This one our stage 3. Stage 3 use cases to cover a lot multiple use cases. And the stage 4, I have one, the somewhere vulnerability. And okay, as you can see, I don't have stage 5 and stage 6 because depend on your data ingestion lah, your data source. So my using demo only just stage 1 until stage 4 lah. And how exploratory content can help you can. You just click the one use cases. For example, I choose deleting shadow copies lah. So Splunk SE can help you give the description and give you content mapping, the explanation, what the type of use cases, what type of category, for example, ransomware, and give you type of analytic story. For example, Windows log manipulation, SAM ransomware, cloud ransomware, and the sample data, and give you how to implement, and also the non-false positive lah. And the right hand side, they give you detail about military attack tactics and military attack techniques, the type of military attack, and also give you the kill chain process, data sources, and type of data model, and asset type using the endpoint lah. So in the same page, Splunk Security Essential give you a prerequisite how you can do the how you can enforce these use cases lah. You build use cases in your Splunk enterprise, so you must have this checklist. For example, here must have micro security content necessity time, must have micro security content summarize, must have micro detect shadow copy filter, must have process cloud. So if you status everything is good, then you can copy this command SPL, and then you can edit in your Splunk enterprise security lah. This is below button. Green button, and you also do the search before you edit in your Splunk enterprise lah. So I think that's all from my side lah. How Splunk detect malware using the 3 application, using the Splunk ESU, Splunk ES content update, and then use library, and the last one is Splunk Security Essential. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much, and I will give back to Miguel to proceed.
Okay, so I believe before I even reach me, TY will actually share quickly in terms of the use cases that we can actually see both EasiShare and Splunk in action in specific industries. So maybe TY, you want to take over quickly?
Sure, no problem. All right. So I will move on to the case study. So this case study will be giving you a full picture of what is actually we are trying to tell all this while, and the full solution set on how it goes. Okay, so let's have an imagination that this is Bank Negara that we are referring to. Okay, so most of the time, Bank Negara would like to get informations of some of the financial data or something from the different banks across the country, across Malaysia. Okay, so first of all, Bank Negara requested a file, sent out the link, sent out the secure link as I mentioned earlier to the sender, and request the bank to upload the files. So they will go through the OTP process, and they will move on to the upload part. Okay, so of course after the upload, before coming into the EasiShare, you will go through this CDR or AV, okay, to sanitize the files and to sanitize the file basically. So after that, what will happen is Firdaus will be explaining on the next on what Splunk will be helping out.
Okay, thanks, Niwai. To continue, this is part of protection acquired by EasiShare, right? They still trade managed to escape. So Splunk can help it will be your next shield lah. So Splunk will provide a second layer of protection over your data to further secure them up lah. As you know, Splunk Enterprise is a platform for big data analytics. So Splunk software help you to unlock the hidden value of this data. So Splunk have ability to bring insight from your other tools. You can get value from the spectrum of your data, and not just a subset lah. So you can collect data, you can index your data, you can search, you can analyze and visual all your data in one place, because Splunk is a one place, one platform. Okay. Splunk provide a platform security product allow firm to conduct various security activity lah for real-time data capture, advanced detection, and threat intelligence to orchestration, automation, and response lah. You can see here from right side we have ES, UBA for user behavior detection, and Phantom as our SOR lah. And Splunk is software highlight data-driven outcome lah. It's known to help our customer, which is in this case is a bank. So with 1 trillion transaction protected every day with secure infrastructure, 10,000 endpoint covering server and user device secured with analytic that quickly identify bespoke attack operation, and 1/3 the country GDP secure by proactive defense strategy lah.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you for those.
Yeah.
So besides that, there's another case study which is talking about the healthcare industry. So most of the, let's imagine this is the Ministry of Health Malaysia. So data such as patients' medical report, patients' personal data, family contacts and all. So this is very significant to MOH, okay, which they do not want it to be leaked out, of course. So how does EasiShare helps here is our solution on how to control the files, as in how do you control the files not to leak out. Okay, so file received in EasiShare, same thing, you will pass through those sanitization, OTP, this and that. Then after that, privileged account can set up the security policies to enforce sharing prohibited to external party. Don't worry, what if you have more concern about this? Firdaus will be explaining on how Splunk will help on the next layer.
Okay, thanks Diwa again. Okay, actually how Splunk protect data leakage for healthcare, right? So actually Splunk help healthcare provide to gain insight into system performance and interact with the broader healthcare ecosystem lah. So it's provide real-time analytics to support initiatives such as gathering, securing patient data, optimizing assistance system to improve patient care, enable online and mobile access to report lah. And interactive report powered by Splunk help the team to track usage and performance medical device. So you can see here Splunk Enterprise and Splunk Cloud. Okay, with Splunk Cloud, healthcare industry help DevOps team to focus on the high priority business need and streamline security compliance with avoid massive on-premise storage costs lah. Migrating to Splunk Cloud has enabled healthcare industry to glean answer from machine data without needs to manage infrastructure. So Splunk Cloud simplify compliance with the Healthcare Insurance Portability and Accountability Act (HIPAA) and other regulation, including SOC 2 Type 2 and General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR). So Splunk Cloud also allow network NOC teams staff to handle all operation incident with automation and runbook. So last but not least, it's important to get right visibility so we can get more efficient and drive our cost down lah. Yep. That's all.
Okay. Thank you for those.
Yeah.
So I hope these pictures, these two case studies that we shared can help you on your current situation, and maybe you can think of something that can be related. All right. So I'll pass it back to Miguel to sum up everything. Yep. Thank you. Miguel?
Oh, apologies. Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so sorry that we are overrunning the webinar and stuff. Just give me 2 minutes so that I can summarize quickly. And also at the same time, there are 2 questions being posted so that I hope that the speakers can actually help us to address them. So this one is for TY. So how does EasiShare actually compare to the other solutions like OneDrive, Google Drive, or DocuShare or even one box itself. So yeah, this is the question to you.
Okay. So usually we will say as in EasiShare has much more policy controls, have much more securities on helping out the securing the files to secure the files from leaking out. And most importantly is what we secure as in how we control the files. Yeah.
Okay. My last question is actually for Kaiser. So how Splunk is actually licensed?
Hi, thanks, Miguel, for the question. So for the attendees, there are a couple of ways that Splunk typically license our solutions. However, as a standard, our licensing goes by the ingestion of data by the number of GB per day of ingestion data. So that is our standard of licensing that we adopt in Splunk globally.
Okay, thank you so much. So I guess now we have take almost 5 minutes of extra of your time. So I would like to actually thank everybody for joining our event, especially the speakers that have presented us some good insights. And also at the same time, just before we wrap things off, after the webinar, there will be actually a survey form that's actually will be automatically sent to you. Please do help us to fill us in so that you can give us some feedback on today's webinar session itself. So Ken, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for your time.